So if any of you have been lucky enough to travel across the border over the last more than a couple of years now, you're going to have experienced something that international travelers, the travel agency in Canada, airlines, whatever, just bemoan and wail about, and that is the infamous Justin Trudeau ArriveCan app. So this is an app that if you are going to attempt to enter Canada, you have to put a bunch of personal information in before you're allowed into the country. Now, this has been talked about at length, but today there's some breaking news on this. And that's that Justin Trudeau has actually created an exemption for over 300,000 people that haven't had to fill out the app in order to enter the country. Now, I think this is great news. I think the whole thing should be scrapped. So as opposed to just, allowing this exemption to continue, why is the Justin Trudeau government keeping it going? Here's my theory. I think two things are happening. First of all, I think Justin Trudeau is getting some particularly bad advice from public servants within the government who are saying, this is fine, it's great, it helps us, whatever. Maybe some app developer or something is like trying to make an argument to keep this thing alive. And the second thing that's happening is that his cabinet is not saying, hey, this is a particularly bad idea. So because Justin Trudeau is not getting that advice from anybody who's close to him, I would like to provide some advice to him because it is the summer and the House of Commons isn't sitting. We don't have question period right now. So Justin Trudeau, if you are listening, here are the top reasons why you need to scrap the ArriveCan app. First of all, in the news today, you've already created an exemption for over 300,000 people. If it works for them, why not for the rest of everyone else? You should be scrapping the app. Second of all, reports, widely reported, the app is super glitchy. It doesn't work. There's problems with it. People have been forced to quarantine even though they are fully vaccinated. Next point, there's huge concerns with privacy. In fact, the privacy commissioner is actually investigating it. There's concerns about whether or not it is a violating constitutionally protected rights. Yet another reason, and that's been in the news, that this ArriveCan app could be potentially violating constitutionally protected rights. The next reason is that you introduced it in 2020 via something called an order in council. It was never really debated in the House of Commons, and you think that something that would collect this much personal information from people around the world, that it would be something that parliamentarians like us should be discussing in the House of Commons, right? Instead of just ramming it through on an OIC without any sunset clause. Yet another reason to scrap it, protecting democracy, which is I think you campaigned on in 2015 and have really not done a great job on that. The other thing is that tourism is a huge industry for Canada and many people's jobs rely upon it across the country from coast to coast to coast. And guess what? People around the world are hearing about this sort of junk at the border and they're going, Canada, somewhere else, business trip in Canada, somewhere else. So Justin Trudeau, you're actually chasing away business that could be coming to Canada. So scrap the app, make it easier on our border agents and others, and try to attract more business to Canada. And by the way, airlines, border control people, everybody is saying, we don't need this app. It is bad for business. Get rid of it. There are so many people arriving that they've created an exemption loophole. I've already re-emphasized that. And it's not just, I'm a Conservative member of Parliament, but it's not just me asking for this. Even your coalition partners, the NDP, there are NDP members. So people to the left of you are saying, scrap the app. Don't do this. So literally your coalition partners in government are saying, don't do this. Yet another example. And you know what? If I had to guess, Trudeau, I would guess that your caucus, like Liberal MPs that are brave enough, even in their caucus room, to say something to you, they're probably going, my constituents are really pissed off about this right now. So maybe, Trudeau, listen to your caucus who are saying, if this is a good idea. It's not a good idea. Trust me, you should scrap it. And the last thing that I want to say is that, you know, Trudeau, there are other programs for speeding up border processing. By the way, ArriveCan is actually, just to reemphasize, really slowed things down. But there are other programs like the Nexus program, for example. But here's the thing, here's the key thing. It's voluntary. You get to volunteer whether or not you want to be part of that. You get to exercise choice in a democracy if you want to be part of Nexus. The ArriveCan app is not voluntary, it's mandatory. Again, it wasn't discussed in Parliament. There's also concerns from the Privacy Commissioner. You've already granted exemptions to people. The tourism industry is saying, don't do it. And even your coalition partners, the NDP, are saying, oh, it's a bad idea here. So I don't know, Trudeau. Like, I don't know who you're listening to, but it's certainly not everybody else in the room here who says to scrap the app. And I think that's one of the reasons why you are going to lose in the next election. For those of you who are listening and agree with this message, share this video. Justin Trudeau needs to go. Working hard for you. Have a great day.